हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Here, Prithu Maharaj went back to Godhead, and after that, the next descendant, his great grandson. So his son was uh, Antardhan. He was actually a great devotee, and he goes back to Godhead. Then comes his son. He was also a great devotee. But after that comes Prajni Barhi. So Vijitashva, uh, he was he begotten, uh, received the title Antardhan, and wife's name was Shikhandi. He begotten three sons, and then Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi. So they all became fire gods. Then Mara Antardhan had another wife, Nabhaswati. So from Nabhaswati, he begotten a son named Havirdhana, right? And then after that, he was from Maharaj Antardhan. Although Maharaj was engaged in sacrifices, but he was doing devotional service because he was not interested in all these things. So Havirdhan's son was Maharaj Antardhan, the son of Maharaj Antardhan, had a wife named Havirdhani, and they had six children. One of them name is Barhishta, and he became actually the next Prajapatis. So Barishta executed many sacrifices. Wherever he went, he was performing sacrifices, and therefore he was called Prachni Barhi. And Brahma himself came and gave it, recommended a daughter for marriage, marry the daughter of Ocean, named Sada Dhruti. And they begotten 10 children, and she was very beautiful. The 10 children are called Prachetas. And when he told them to increase the population, they did not beget cats and dogs. They wanted to go to forest for performing sacrifices. So we were discussing that then Vidura was interested because when they went, they met Lord Shiva. Vidura was interested how Lord Shiva could meet them and what was the reason. So if a devotee or any living entity is very sincere, Krishna arranges for the spiritual master. That is in the heart, Paramatma is there. He is seeing what is the desire of a living entity, and he will make all arrangements for the living entity to come closer to him. So here also we see that Krishna is arranging for the Prachetas to meet Lord Shiva. Same thing happened to Dhruva. He met Narada Muni like that. So here they met. And then they were describing about the place which they went. And this is a very beautiful place. It is a big lake there, and it is very calm. So the most important thing is they went into the execute the. We were discussing that even the Naimisharanya. Why Naimisharanya so special? Because mind becomes calm. Why mind becomes calm? Because mind is always rotating from one topic to another, one thought to another. But when Brahma created the universe, he created with this point, Naimisharanya as the center, and then he created the universe. Because it's the center, everything is rotating around it. So center will remain stable. So that means our mind remains stable at Nimishe. So this is a place where there is no it is mind is very calm. So here also they went to a great reservoir, almost as big as the ocean. The main thing is the water of this lake was so calm and quiet, it seemed like the mind of a great soul. And that is what we have to achieve at the end of life. If I want to go back home, back to Godhead, I have to see how much my mind is calm. Mind becomes calm only when it is at the lotus feet of Krishna. Or if our, or another thing is, if our consciousness is very, very, very expanded. Expanded consciousness means what? Like if the circle is very small, we will know it is coming back first, second, third, fourth thought, again first thought, like that. But circle is very big, expansion of consciousness. Then even though we are going in a circle, but it look like a straight line only, because the circle size is very big. So similarly, we have to expand our consciousness, and the highest consciousness is Krishna consciousness, and that is what we have to achieve. So then we become very broad. Now presently we think about ourselves, but when we start thinking about Krishna, our consciousness expands. So that is the formula. Now me, my wife, my husband, my children, my house, my job, my finance, it is just in a circle, again and again goes. How should I clear my EMI? Where should I invest money? What about job? What about marriage? What about this? Our mind is just within that, how to spend money. It is so sankuchita. So it is not vikasita and purna vikasita chetana. So that's how we are stuck. So here Prabhupada is writing the same thing. So it is that unlike the sea or ocean which has turbulent waves, this reservoir was very calm and quiet. Indeed, the water was so clear that it seemed like the mind of a great soul. There may be many great souls, Gyanis, Yogis, and Bhaktas are pure devotees, are also called great souls, but they are very rarely found. So this is very difficult. So now this is the place where they went, and after that they meet. In the great lake, there were different types of lotus flowers. Some of them were bluish, some of them were red, some of them grew at night, some in the day, and some like Indravara lotus flowers in the evening. Combined together, the lotus flowers filled the lake so full that the lake appeared to be great mine of such flowers. Consequently, on the shores there were swans, cranes, and chakravakas, karandavas, and other beautiful water birds standing about. Here, the word akaram, mind, is significant in this verse. For the reservoir of water appeared like a mine from which different types of lotus flowers are produced. Some during day, night, evening, and accordingly they had different names and different colors. All these flowers were present on the lake, and because the lake was so calm and quiet and filled with lotus flowers, superior birds like swans, chakravakas, and karandavas stood on the shore and vibrated their different songs, making the entire scene attractive and beautiful. Here, na, we don't have that access. That proper, and there are different types of human beings according to the association of three qualities of mental nature. The similar types of birds also, birds, bees, trees, everything is divided. So birds are also in, they are swans, cranes. They enjoy in clean waters in different form. They are different from crows who enjoy in filthy places. Proper rights. Similarly, there are persons who are controlled by mode of ignorance, passion, and then controlled by goodness. So if you go higher planetary systems, they have very great facilities which are not there for us in these lower planets. So here, even if you want to, what is the main problem if for people to maintain all the having such lakes and all? The main problem is maintaining them only, and that is the greatest problem for them. And because here everything becomes dirty. In heavenly planets, they don't become dirty. They always remain fresh. Here we have that flowers get dried up. There it won't happen like that. That's why it is always trees and flowers. Na? Here they get dried up. In heavenly planetary systems, any person wear garland, it always remains fresh. The day when it becomes dried up, that is his last day on that planet. He has to leave the planet. He will then the land opens and he will drop down. That's how it happens. So it's a very fresh place. That's why And they don't have dust and other things. We have to do everyday cleaning here. And but that is not a problem. They don't have any scavengers and all these people who are regularly cleaning and all. They don't have such problems there. Here we have. That's why they don't want to come here. All the demigods, they are not seen only at the planet. So there were various trees and creepers on all sides of lake. There were mud bumblebees humming all about them. The trees appeared to be very jolly due to sweet humming of the bumblebees. So trees are also happy. And the saffron which was contained in the lotus flower were being thrown into the air. These all created such an atmosphere that it appeared as though a festival were taking place there. So this is the advantage in that planetary system. So that is created by Lord to help that living entity to enjoy certain pleasures. Because we are not so pious, so we have to stay in the earthly planet and suffer all these pollutions. Actually, previously it was little better. After we created this vehicle industry, transport and other things, we made much more mess. We have pollutions, we have air pollution, water pollution, and all pollutions we created. Before that, it was little better, but still, it is not compared to what is in the heavenly planet. The trees and creepers are so different, also different types of living beings. And bumblebee come upon trees and creepers to collect honey. Certainly, such plants become very happy. On such an occasion, the swan also takes advantage of the situation by throwing pollen or saffron contained in lotus flowers. All this combines with sweet vibrations created by swans and the calm of the water. The Pratyajas consider such a place to be like a continuous festival. For this description, it appears that the Pratyajas reached Shivaloka, which is supposed to be situated near the Himalayan mountain. So this is all about Greater Himalaya. So where Lord Shiva is situated, and they reached Shivaloka. तत्र गान्धर्वम् आकर्ण्य दिव्यमार्गामनोहरम् विशिष्युम्यो राजपुत्रास्ते मर्दगम् पण्डवाद्यनु. The sons of the king became very much amazed when they heard vibrations from various drums and kettle drums along with other orderly music sounds playing to the ears, pleasing to the ears. So in addition to various flowers and living beings, there are also musical vibrations. So Lord Shiva stays such a. This is all natural opulence. Nowadays, in companies and all, they wanted to create some music, and they play some certain music in flight also. No, when we sit there, they're trying to make it very comfortable, cooling. But they don't. The place is so congested, you don't feel that only. At least sometime they'll give some music, but here it was in a very natural setting. The void of impersonalism, which has no variegatedness, is not at all pleasing compared to such a scene. Actually, one has to attain the perfection of Satchidananda, eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Because the impersonalists deny these varieties of creations, they cannot actually enjoy transcendental bliss. The place where Prachatas arrived was the abode of Lord Shiva. Impersonalists are generally worshippers of Lord Shiva, but Shiva is never without variety in his abode. Thus, wherever he goes, wherever to the planet of Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, or Brahma, there is variety. So, if Shiva is enjoying, why not their followers? Why they are saying it is without any variety? So, that is Prabhupada's point. तरहि सहस्रस्तस्मान् निष्क्रामन्तं सहानुगम् उपगीयमानम् अमरं प्रवरं विबुधाङ्गु विबुधानुगैः तप्तहेमानिकायाभ्यां शीतिकण्टकं त्रिलोचनं प्रसादसुमुखं वीक्ष्य प्रणेमुर्जातकण् ऊतुकय. He says, Prachetas, were fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily lustrous was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish, and he had three eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances with great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. So here the beauty of Lord Shiva is described. It's very, very perfect in terms of his beauty. And most important thing is he has very merciful eyes. He is accompanied by his musicians who are glorifying him. So the word Vibhudhanugai indicates Lord Shiva is always accompanied by denizens of higher planets known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras. They are very expert in musical science. Lord Shiva is worshipped by them constantly. Prabhupada writing, in pictures, Lord Shiva is generally painted white, but here we find that the color of his skin is not exactly white, but like molten gold or a glowing yellowish color. Because Lord Shiva is always very, very merciful, his name is Ashutosh. Lord Shiva can be pacified even by the lowest class of men, who need only offer him obeisances and leaf of bale tree. Thus, his name is Ashutosh, which means that he is pleased very quickly. Generally, those who are very fond of material prosperity approach Lord Shiva for such benediction. I was actually this is there in some temples. Na, they keep bay leaves there only. So anybody comes, they take one bay leaf and offer to Lord Shiva. So that is nice. The Lord, being very merciful, quickly awards all the blessings the devotees ask of him. The demon take advantage of his leniency and sometimes take benedictions from Lord Shiva, which can be very dangerous to others. So Prabhupada gives the example of Vrikasur. So these are the qualities described about Lord Shiva, how he looks. Now what happens? Satani prapannarti haro bhagavan dharma vatsalah dharma jnana shila sampanna pritan uachaha. Lord Shiva, being very pleased with the Prachetas, became general because generally Lord Shiva is the protector of pious persons and persons of gentle behavior. Being very much pleased with the penance, he began to speak as follows. So, Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsala. Here we find Lord Shiva is called Dharma Vatsala. So, this is the difference between Krishna and Shiva. Of course, he is also Bhakta Vatsala, but more important for Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsala and Shiva is described Dharma Vatsala. The word dharma refers to person who lives according to religious principles. This is nonetheless these two words are have additional significance. Sometimes Shiva has to deal with persons who are in mode of passion ignorance. Such people are always very much religious and pious in their activities. So this is the point. So they may be in lower modes, but what is they? Of course, they are not always very much religious and pious in their activities. But since Lord Shiva is since they worship Lord Shiva for material for, they sometimes obey the religious principle. Hmm. So just to please Lord Shiva. As soon as Lord Shiva sees that his devotees are following religious principles, he blesses them. So, but here these prachetas were naturally following. They were not Lord. They wanted to get attraction of Lord Shiva. That's why do. So from here onwards, Lord Shiva's name. Yuyam vedishah putra विदितं वा चिकीर्षितम् अनुग्रहाय भद्रं वा एवं मे darshanam kritam. Lord Shiva said, you are all the sons of King Prachinibarshi. I wish all good fortune unto you. I also know what you are going to do, and therefore I am visible to you just to show my mercy upon you. So here it is a great benediction for the Prachetas that they are getting the blessings of Lord Shiva. So this indicates that the person who is not yet a devotee of Supreme Lord but who desires to serve the Supreme Lord receives the benediction of demigods uh, headed by the chief demigod Shiva. So if one who is not yet a devotee but he want to serve the Lord, then they get the blessings of benedictions of demigods. See, thus a devotee of the Lord does not need to try to please the demigod separately. This is very, very important. Simply by worshipping Supreme Lord, a devotee can please all of them. Nor does he have to ask the demigods for material benedictions. They automatically offer. So therefore, Bilamangal Thakur said that if one has unalloyed devotion to Supreme Lord, Goddess of Liberation is ready to serve him. Mukalitanjalir Asmat. So she is standing with folded hands, he says. So, indeed, all the demigods are simply waiting for an opportunity to serve the devotee. Thus, there is no need for a devotee of Krishna to endeavor for material opulence or liberation. So, very nice formula means understanding for devotee. Yeah, param ब्रह्मसः साक्षात् त्रिगुणाजीवसंजिता भाग भगवन्तं वासुदेवं प्रपन्नं सा प्रियो हि मे. Lord Shiva continued, any person who surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the control of everything, material nature, as well as living entities, actually very dear to me. So from here it starts. So this is the first thing he is telling. So devotees are very dear to me. So now Shiva explains the reason he personally came before the princess because all princes are devotees of Krishna. Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Vasudeva Sarmit Samahatma Sudurla. Such a person. So Lord Shiva is rarely seen by common man, and similarly, a person who is fully surrendered unto Vasudeva Krishna is also very rarely seen because a person who is fully surrendered to Krishna, Samahatma Sudurla. How rare is the darshan of Lord Shiva is similarly that much rare is the darshan of a pure devotee of Krishna. Consequently, Lord Shiva came especially to see Prachetas because they were fully surrendered. And since Vasudeva is ultimate truth, Shiva openly proclaimed that one who is a devotee of Lord Vasudeva is surrendered is actually very dear to him. So here is clear telling. And it is said, Yan Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunvanti Divyai Savai. Krishna is worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, everyone. So all the demigods are worshipping. So here very nicely explained how the Krishna likes means to become devotee of Krishna is such a rare thing. So Lord Vasudeva is described in Bhagavad Gita as Purushottama. Actually, he is the enjoyer, Purusha, and we are all Prakriti. So Prabhupada gave very nice elaboration on this. Mama Ivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. And then he says that uh, one is called Karsha and the other is called Akarsha. Karsha refers to those who have fallen down and become conditioned. Akrasha refers to those who are not conditioned. So vast majority of living entities in spiritual world called Akrasha. Sorry, Akshara. Kshara and Akshara. They are the position of Brahma, pure spiritual master. So now Krishna is telling Uttama Purushastu Anyaha. So he is the supreme person beyond all these things. This is to be understood. So next shloka says that here from here he starts glorifying. He said that I like devotees, and from here he start explaining about Krishna to devotees because that is very pleasing to devotees to hear also and for the Lord also. He says Swadharmanishtam shatajanma bhipuman विरिञ्चितामेत ततः परं हि माम् अव्याकृतं भागवतो अत विषण्यं पदं यतानां विबुधा कथायुया. He says that a person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. If he becomes more qualified, he can approach Lord Shiva. A person who is directly surrendered to Lord Krishna or Vishnu in alloyed devotion serves is immediately promoted to spiritual planet. Lord Shiva and other demigods attain this planet after the destruction of this material world. So here, unalloyed devotees service is immediately promoted. So this is very special place. So Prabhupada writing, as described by the poet Jayadeva Goswami, Pralaya Payodijale Dhritava Asi Vedam. Let us begin tracing the evolutionary process from the point of devastation, Pralaya. When the whole universe is filled with water, at that time there are many fishes and other aquatics. And from these aquatics evolved creepers, trees, etc. From these insects, reptiles evolved, and from these them birds, beasts, and then human beings, and finally civilized human beings. Now the civilized human being is at a junction where he can make further evolutionary progress in the spiritual life. So that is actually what Prabhupada is trying. Swadharma Nishta. That when a living entity comes to civilized form of life, there must be Swadharma, civilized divisions accordingly. Chaturvarna Maya system. So what Prabhupada is trying to explain is that Shata Janma Puman. So Brahma, he is performing his the living entity performing his duty for 100 lifetimes. Okay, that is there, but beyond that also something is there. That's what Prabhupada is feeling. Okay, you are having a evolutionary process. First you are aquatics, then insects, then birds, and then bees, then human beings. In human beings also, we have to perform one who performs dharma or higher. And if you perform dharma for 100 years, you will come to the position of Brahma. Means now above Brahma, what is there? That's actually what Prabhupada is trying to tell. So he is described Swadharma Nishtha, that it does not matter whether one is a Brahmana Kshatriya. If one stick to his position and properly execute it in a particular duty, is considered civilized. Otherwise, he is no better than an animal. It is also mentioned here that whoever executes his occupational dharma for 100 births is eligible to become to be promoted to Brahmaloka, the planet of Brahma. There is also a planet called Shivaloka, which is situated in marginal position between spiritual and material world. If after being situated in Brahmaloka, one becomes more qualified, he goes to Shivaloka. And when one becomes more qualified, he can attain Vaikuntha Loka. That means 100 lifetimes of good activity, you can reach Brahmaloka only. And after that, you can reach Shivaloka and then Vaikuntha. But now it is said that uh, this is not very great. Whereas a devotee, he can directly go to Vaikuntha. In other words, it's confirmed hearing that a person in human society who has developed consciousness must take to Krishna consciousness in order to promote to Vaikuntha or Krishna immediately after leaving body. No need of 100 lifetimes. You go to Brahmaloka and then Shivaloka and then like that. No. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So this is what Prabhupada's logic is here. Arey, why to waste time? So much you are getting to get a human body and do all these things. अथ भागवता यूयं प्रिया सत्य भवान्यथा न मद्भागवतानां च प्रेयान् अन्योस्ति कर्हिचित्. You are all devotees of Lord, and since and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as Supreme Lord. I know in that this way that the devotees also respect me and I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to a devotee as I am. So he's telling very dear because I am a Vaishnava. And for devotees, Lord Shiva is very dear because he's also a Vaishnava. He is meditating on the Lord. So that Shiva himself is telling, but we should not tell to this to devotees of Shiva, they will become offended. Idam viviktam japatvayam pavitram mangalam param nishreyasya karmam chapi tramam chapi suyatam tadvadami vaha. Now I shall chant one mantra which is not only transcendental, pure, and auspicious, but is best prayer for anyone who is aspiring to attain the ultimate goal of life. When I chant this mantra, please hear it carefully and attentively. So now Brahma is going to chant the Rudra Gita. Maitre Vacha iti anukrosha hridayo bhagavan ahatan chaiva abadjalin rajaputran narayano parovachah. The great sage Maitreya continued. Out of his causeless mercy, the exalted personality, Lord Shiva, a great devotee of Lord Narayana, continued to speak to kings and who were standing with folded hands. Now, he could have directly told Lord continue Shiva's prayers, but in between one shloka came so that it can separate from the prayers and his conversation. So it is a nice form of giving. So one shloka is that. I was thinking where the prayers are starting, how will we know? So there was a break. So Lord Shiva voluntarily came to bless the sons of king as well as do something beneficial for them. He personally chanted the mantra so that the mantra would be more powerful. If we are directly hearing from Guru, na, that has a power. That's why if we get an opportunity to chant with Guru, get an opportunity to hear his kirtan, directly hear his instructions, it is very important. He personally chanted mantra so that the mantra would be more powerful, and he advised that the mantra be chanted by Krishna's king's sons, Rajaputra. When a mantra is chanted by great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. Although Hare Krishna Mahamantra is powerful in itself, a disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from his spiritual master. From when the mantra is chanted by spiritual one, it becomes more powerful. You see, Prabhupada is very clearly telling. So after initiation, so although the mantra is, so when the mantra is chanted by great, although the Hare Krishna mantra is powerful in itself, a disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from spiritual master. For when the mantra is chanted by spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. Lord Shiva advised the sons of kin to hear him attentively, for inattentive hearing is offensive. So he told them. Rudra Uvacha Jitam ta Atmavidi Varya Sashtaye Swastirastu me Bhavatarata Radham Sarvaswam Atmane Namaha. Lord Shiva addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead with following prayers. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories unto you. You are the most exalted of all self realized souls. You are always auspicious for the self realized. I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of all perfect instructions you give. You are the super soul. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you as the supreme being. So this is the first prayer. So what are the points that are told? We'll try to see nicely Rudra Gita. We'll try to pay little attention what Lord Shiva is glorifying. So first thing he's telling that uh, you are most exalted, and then you are always auspicious for uh, auspicious children. I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of all perfect instructions. So worshipped by instructions, and you are the super soul. So these are the points in the first verse. So Prabhupada writes that as soon as the devotee is inspired by Lord to offer a prayer, the devotee immediately glorifies the Lord in the beginning by saying, "All glories unto you, my Lord." So the Lord is glorified because he is considered to be the chief of all self-realized soul. So Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanana. There are different kinds of individual living beings. Some of them are in this material world, some in the spiritual world. So Supreme Lord is all perfect. So this is how the Lord is worshipped. Mhm. Tata Paramhamsana Munina Mamalatmana. So Atma Ramascha Muniyo Nirkanta Purukrame. So these are the shlokas Prabhupada is quoting. नमः पङ्कजनाभाय भूतसूक्ष्मेन्द्रियात्मने वासुदेवाय शान्ताय कूटस्थाय स्वरोचिषे. My Lord, you are the origin of creation by virtue of lotus flower, which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme control of the senses and sense objects, and you are also the all pervading Vasudeva. You are the most peaceful. And because of your self illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by the six kinds of transformation. So here he is telling that how the creation comes. So creation comes from your navel. You are the origin of creation. You are the supreme controller of senses and sense objects. So both of senses. So that means whatever we are having of senses, it is controlled by Lord only. You are all pervading Vasudeva. So all pervading. You are the most peaceful, and because you are self illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by six transformations. Not disturbed by. So this is how they are glorifying. And it is said that yeah, how from the navel the Brahma is coming from Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, and is also called Rishi Kesha, the controller and master of the senses. So Lord Shiva is glorifying like this. The word Sa Shantaya Kutasthaya Sarochishe are very significant. Although Lord is within this material world, he is not disturbed in the waves of material existence. However, conditions also are agitated by six kinds of transformations, namely hunger, thirst, and old age, disease, all these things are there. Therefore, it is said here, Kutasthaya, that he is always peaceful and devoid of agitation because of his prowess. So we'll see what are the next glorification. Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya धूरन्तायान्तिकाय च नमो विश्वप्रबोधाय प्रद्युम्नायान्तरात्मने. My dear Lord, you are the origin of subtle material ingredients, the master of all integration, as well as the master of all dis, dis, uh, disintegration. That predominating deity named Sankarshana, the master of all intelligence, known as predominating deity Pradyumna. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. So these are the mantras for Sankarshana and Pradyumna. If somebody want to chant, sometimes they can chant this. So he writes that the whole universe is maintained by the integration power of a Supreme Lord, who is known in that capacity by name Sankarshana. Material scientists may have discovered the law of gravity, which maintains the integration of objects, but that is by Sankarsana only. So that's what Prabhupada is telling in this purport. As mentioned, Bhagavad Gita, the gross material elements of our earth, water, fire, and settle our mind, intelligence, all of them are controlled by Supreme Lord, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Okay, thank you all very much. We'll end here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.